Hello everyone and welcome to another Gotharman's Urano tutorial video. In this video we'll patch a real sample and hold. As you know, there are 5 random generators in the Urano, and they can be triggered by any source you like, and upon triggering they will generate a random value, and it's truly random, or as random as you can make it in a digital system like that. But this is of course just like sending noise into a sample and hold and then triggering the sample and hold, and you always get a different random value out of that. But what if you want to sample something else than noise? This is currently not possible with the random triggers here, but you can very well patch it up actually. It is a bit of a workaround, but I think it's fun and also a good way to learn more about how the Urano works inside. So first of all, what do we want to sample? We don't want to sample noise, but let's sample just an LFO, and for that I'm just going to reduce the rate a little bit so that it's not so fast. And then here comes the little workaround trick. We'll go to a sequence, and we can do that with any sequence, so let's do that with note track number 1 right now. And I will turn down the last step to step 1. So there's only one step playing. And then I will just go here to the template screen and add a trigger. So now we have a trigger on step 1. Now when I press play, this trigger is being triggered by the internal master clock, of course. And what we'll do now is overwrite this first step at each trigger pulse with the LFO value. And we could do that with a note value, but let's try it out with a velocity track, because this is sometimes a little underused, at least in my case. And I'll go to the template screen here. Range 100 is already set up, and I'll just put everything to the middle, or actually just the first step, because that's the only step we have, to the middle. And this allows us to overwrite it with bipolar values, like LFO values, which go negative and positive. That's why I want to have it at the middle. And then we'll go to the modulation screen, set the destination to velocity, turn it up, and then as a modulation input, we'll choose our LFO1. And here you can already see the triangle LFO is just going up and down. And yeah, let's have a look how this behaves now. I'll go into the oscillator modulation page, and let's modulate the wave parameter with that sample and hold now. And for this, I will choose velocity number 1. And there we can already see that it's now giving us the stepped LFO values. And to make this a little more apparent, I'm just going to go to the sequencer main screen real quick and turn down the global BPM so that it's sampling at longer intervals. So now you can see here that we're getting stepped LFO values, because on each sequencer trigger pulse, it overrides the velocity value with another LFO value. And we can also listen to how that sounds. I'm just going to quickly patch the input of output 1 to the oscillator output, and then turn up the volume. And turn up the wave modulation amount. And I'll turn the LFO speed a little lower. And now we can see that we've got an actual sample and hold. I'll turn on the volume. So what else could we sample? Well, anything actually. We could sample audio rate oscillators, or we could even sample knob movement. So let's try that out maybe. We go back to the sequencer menu, modulation menu, and instead of the LFO as a mod source, we'll just choose knob number 1. And I'm just going to use the quick function here, knob number 1. And then I'll go out into this menu, turn up the volume. And now it'll just hold the last knob value whenever a trigger pulse is sent. And this is how you patch a sample and hold. Now, if you also watched my clock rate modulation video, then you'll also know that you can also control the clock rate via an LFO, for example. So you could have dynamic speed sample and hold triggering, and you can create really truly modular patches now. So definitely go ahead and play around with this. and report your findings in the comments below this video. Thanks a lot for watching, and have fun with your Urano.